The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami, carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast. Recording this on Thursday, October 9th, 2025. It is the second installment of EJ Loves the Internet. As you guys know, I released this first episode about 2 weeks ago, where I basically like to react to things, whether it's videos, audio files, or random memes, or random conversations, or random tweets, whatever it be, that I see on the internet that I find interesting that I can talk about also too. You know, a lot of it's content that typically would make the show, the regular shows on Tuesday and Fridays, but don't have time to put it into the docket. So this is a space now for me to, even if something small, it can be. And the things too, also, I want this to be also lighthearted also. So I want this show to be, you know, there'll be some serious things there I want to talk about, but there are things I want to be also lighthearted and also last about the media and things of that nature. So this is what this space is here for. We try to do this every week as possible, although this is dropping 2 weeks after the first episode. That is my bad. I had a pretty busy week, unfortunately, so I wasn't able to record the second installment until now. So let's get started here with the first thing I want to react to. It is, as you guys know, I am still recovering from that sad loss by Florida State Seminoles in college football, loss to the Miami Hurricanes, who I believe are the best team right now in college football as is recording. Michael Irvin, of course, alum, all-time great Hall of Famer, great all-time great Dallas Cowboy, all-time great Miami Hurricane, leaving the game and was supposed to get trolled by an FSU fan, but this thing didn't go well. Here's Michael Irvin and an FSU fan getting into it.
Bitch. You still taking your ass home with that loss?
Fuck Miami!
Go home, grab that grease, get in your room.
You got me. You got me, bro. You got me, bro. You got me, bro. You got me, bro. You got me.
So intense.
Taking home that defeat, and you busting up Mary those five fingers tonight like a lawyer.
Yo, that's legendary.
I'm sorry, that kid looks so lame doing that. Oh, it's so legendary. You you're trying to do something. I don't like. Part of me thinks it was staged, but at the same time, Michael Irvin's that intense. He's that intense. He was so intense in that video, it made you think that he was probably gonna hit the kid. You know, I'm like, ooh, calm down, Mike, calm down. Y'all won the game, it's okay. But you know, it's Michael Irvin, Michael Irvin. He's an intense guy. I mean, he's, to me, look, it's funny because like I am not a Miami Hurricanes fan. I'm definitely not a Dallas Cowboys fan in the NFL. Both those teams are direct rivals of teams I support in those respective sports and leagues. And, you know, of the Giants in football, NFL football, my Florida State Seminoles in college football. But Michael Irvin is one of my favorite people out there. Like, he is 100% all gas, no brakes. He's especially great in the media. I love watching him on First Take. I especially love watching him on It Is What It Is, my favorite podcast. Let's do every day with Cam and Mace. He's just authentic. He's authentic and all gas, no brakes, brother. I love the guy, man. So yeah, that was really cool. I mean, like I said, I thought was gonna pop the kid, man, but the kid came off kind of lame. Oh, that's so cool, bro. So cool. You want me to go from trolling the guy and trying to get a gotcha moment, and all of a sudden like, oh, so cool. Bro, get out of here. You're lame. All right, next one here. This was actually from after game 1 of the AL Wildcard Series. Nick Totoro, our actor Nick Totoro, reacting to the Yankees losing game 1. Now, they did win the series ultimately, but I still want to say this video because I love the crash out here. The Yankees were actually down, I think, in this game 3-1, bottom of the ninth, and they had like a bases loaded with no outs, and they could not get anything in to win the game. Now, again, like I said, they won the series ultimately, although they lost to the Blue Jays in the second in American League Divisional Series. But this is Nick Tesoro's reaction. This is really great.
How do you not score? How could you not score? 3 singles in a row! Fucking unbelievable, the same shit! Every fucking year! And then you take out a guy, pitching a shutout!
Oh, God, I love it. I love Yankee fan crash outs. So entitled, the fucking entitled fan base they are. I'm a Met fan. Look, y'all 2 weeks ago made fun of my ass when the Mets crashed out and burned at the end. And for the record, rightly so. But y'all ain't won a World Series since 2009. Your standards are much bigger than ours at this point, okay? So don't get at me. You know, don't get mad at me. My brother Maurice goes on this podcast from time to time. He is probably the reason why I hate the Yankees as much as I do now. Because the Yankees have really great players and likable players. I love Aaron Judge. I'm a big Aaron Judge fan. I have no ill will towards that guy. But bro, I wonder if he did a video for the when they lost to the Blue Jays for Game 4. I'm really curious about that. Anyway, here's his next clip here. This next clip here is Stephen A. Smith reacting to LeBron James's second decision. Last week we saw that LeBron had an announcement to be made on Monday with speculation about whether or not he'd be retiring or whatever it may be. I even said on social media that I've been saying all offseason long that this will be LeBron's last year in the NBA, but you got to at least put that as a possibility. But I also said that this could be him, supporting or marketing a new shoe or something like that, and end up being him promoting Hennessy. So here's Stephen A's reaction on First Take.
Critics said it best when they said that if you make a bad movie, typically you don't have a sequel. So if you look at the decision and the manner in which that was handled and the way it served to alienate folks back at that time, you would think that he wouldn't want to remind people of that, considering the heat he took from that. And unfortunately, he was tone deaf, and that's not the decision. That's not the path that he took. This was corny as hell. It was cringy. It was all of that. We know this. You're promoting an alcoholic beverage and trying to give people the impression that this could be your final season, that you might end up retiring. And so, one other person joked and they said, you know what, that's like Jordan. Compare that to Jordan saying, I'm back. What if he had said, no, I'm teasing you, and then it happened to be a Hanes commercial? What if it had been something like that? And that's what this was the equivalent of. In the end, I don't understand why the second greatest player who ever lived, a 4-time champion, a 4-time league MVP, one of the greatest players who have ever lived, would stoop to trying to garner attention for himself with something other than trying to win a damn championship. I want to be in Southern California come June. Are Lakers gonna win? Lakers gonna be in the picture. That's what I care about. I don't give a damn about some Hennessy commercial, especially from him. A matter of fact, if you play like garbage at any point in time when it really, really counts, I'm going to think about the Hennessy commercial and wonder if you was drinking something before the game. I mean, that's what's going to have me thinking about. I want to be in Southern California.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
I love Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma City Thunder. I love the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yo.
I love how he does the Kevin shit. Like, I love OKC. I love the Thunder, but, I don't want to be there. And granted, he does it all the time, all these teams. I want to be in Miami, or I want to be in, obviously because he does the Miami and the weather there in June, and of course LA and weather in June, of course, and then of course New York because it's New York. But come on, bro, what are we doing?
I don't want to be in Oklahoma City come June. I tried that, Swagoo. I Swagoo, I don't know if you noticed it. I was trying to get from Minnesota to Oklahoma City. That was tough. I had to come out of my pocket to get that. All right. I want to be in Southern California. I want to be in Southern California. I want to find.
I can't stand other shit though too with him. Sounds like a fucking elitist, bro. I can't stand it. Sounds like a damn elitist. Like I should be here. And look, everybody has their preferences. I get that, but know your audience too, bro. Like people in those cities do watch you too, also. So when they boo your ass in Oklahoma City, if you go do the Thunder game, don't be surprised because of shit like this.
finals in LA. Can I get that? Because the one time they went to the finals and won it all with him in the Lakers uniform was when they were in the bubble. That wasn't in LA. That was in a bubble in Orlando. I would like to be in LA in June. Can we talk?
Yeah, we got it. We'll be LA in June. I get that. But his larger point makes sense though. Like, I think we make too much of what LeBron does. People are like, oh, he's a narcissist and this and that. And yeah, I actually agree with that. But he's also a product of what society is today. Okay. I'm 45 years old. LeBron's 40, turned 41 in December. So he's sort of my generation, I guess, still. But, look at Taylor Swift. To be a star today, you have to be accessible. LeBron is, if anything, is accessible. Accessible. Here's the thing. Like, I want to dedicate an episode to this one day, but I think LeBron. Like, I'm on LeBron now. I'm out, and when I'm saying I'm on LeBron, like, he's still took my all the time. But I'm just tired of the pettiness and the passive aggressive stuff and all that. All that. He's annoying. LeBron's annoying. Let's be real. I don't dislike the guy. He's number 2 all time for me. I mean, what's wrong with me? Number 2 all time. He's annoying. And I see Stephen A's point, but that's a bit much, man. It is what it is, bro. Like, that's a decision happened 15 years ago? Like, we long past that. He's even come back to Cleveland and got him a title. So we're way past that. So I think just finding things to talk about. But again, when I say that LeBron is the face of the league, okay, when I say that all the time, this is what I mean. He does anything, he breathes wrong. He farts wrong. It's news. This is why he's still a face of the league. All right. Here's a classic clip here. Chris Berman on Monday Night Football behind the scenes about 25 years ago.
TV, and I got 18. God damn it. Can't everybody stop for 10 minutes? I mean, everybody seems that's the only. Everybody can we stick. Jesus Christ. I mean.
Berman crash out, man. Love it.
It's not that much to ask. Is that when everybody has to move when I'm trying to concentrate? Jesus.
And you guys thought I was a pain.
I mean, it's so rude. I can't believe it. It's so goddamn rude. Just, why does everyone all of a sudden have to move? I've had 2 fucking hours to move around. Wait Jesus. 10 minutes. Jesus. I'm sorry to explode by that, but it's like no one's ever worked on TV here before. Jesus.
How many times are you gonna say Laura's name in vain, bro? Like, how many times? Like, come on.
Sunken under the kid. What the fuck do they think I'm doing? I actually can't believe what I just saw.
Not now.
It's like no one here has worked on TV before. I hear a dial tone. And there were 7 people. I mean, Jesus.
Okay, runner and the word Jesus. Come on.
We need to use the studio for 15 fucking minutes.
Oh my God, that's a crash out. Oh my Lord, Chris, what's going on with you, bro? This is old, of course, now, but my God, how many times are you gonna say the word Jesus? I get it. We get it. Like, Jesus, yes, we get it. Like, oh my God. Oh, geez. I mean, now Berman, of course, he's still doing. He's still working with ESPN. He still does primetime every week. Not the same primetime as it was back in the day with Tom Jackson. I mean, Booger McFarland's decent, but it's not the same show like it was way back when. I miss the old days, man. I really do miss the old days. All right, here's a quote I saw from Loudwire, and it's Mike Shinoda. I think is he the guitar player for Linkin Park? I don't know. He's one of the members of Linkin Park, and he was reflecting on Torrent Metallica back in 2003. And he basically disliked Metallica's bro energy, call it macho music. So, in an interview, Mike Shinoda reflected on the early days of Linkin Park when they toured with metal bands. Unlike the group's new singer, Emily Armstrong, who found 2 total publications, she found the sound of early 2000 metal and new metal to be nostalgic. Shinoda was not as fond of it all. Specifically, the Linkin Park co-founder took issue with the culture surrounding the genre at the time. In the early 2000s, Linkin Park did a bunch of metal tours and played Metallica. The energy there was very masculine bro energy. We were immersed in a culture where it was like an arms race for who could make the most macho music. This is very true, actually. Shinoda went on to explain how Linkin Park's approach to songwriting was different from the compared to contemporaries. Chester Bennington connected with it a little more than the rest of us did, but not by much, he continued. My band features more lyrics that are introspective. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to kick your ass. It was like, somebody kicked my ass. I'm so frustrated in high school. I wasn't kicking anyone's ass. That was not happening. The musician acknowledges, though, that the genre has definitely evolved away from its more aggressive beginnings. Genres are so blended and the music is so all over the place, I don't hate new metal anymore, Shinoda admitted. There's a lot of truth to that, though. So, you guys know my history. I played in bands back in the day. I played in a metal band back in 2002 through about 2010. And there was a lot of that energy, even on a local level. Like, we used to make up feuds with other bands that weren't as heavy as we were, whether it was metal bands or bands outside the genre. And Linkin Park, of course, their music is a lot more introspective. With Chester, Chester was very, obviously you read the lyrics, and especially now in hindsight, him passing away via suicide, it makes sense. The anger, and the way he was, and the perspective he was writing from. So it's definitely understandable. So that tour, for example, I think, or if I'm not mistaken, that tour of Metallica 2003, Summer Sandstorm tour, that was Metallica, Linkin Park, Deftones also was there on that tour, and I think Mudvayne also was on that tour. So you got some of the biggest hitters in nu metal at the time that were on that tour. So I can understand his perspective on feeling like, yo, this energy is kind of fucking weird. I get that. Yeah, I totally get that. That's a real thing. It really is. He's not whining. It's a real thing. It's really a real thing. I actually tend to agree with him on that perspective. All right, let's go to another video here. Here's a video sent in discussing why Janet Jackson is very underrated.
By Janet Jackson, making her... Janet Jackson was the first woman to be nominated for Producer of the Year at the Grammys, but no one really talks about it. It wasn't just honorary, she earned it. Black Cat was written by Janet Jackson and produced by Janet Jackson, making her the first female artist to have a Grammy-nominated #1 song that she solely wrote and produced. On Janet, she took a larger role in songwriting and production, explaining, quote, "It was important to me to write all the lyrics and half the melodies." She took risks by experimenting with different musical influences, bringing together Kathleen Battle and Public Enemy's Chuck D, an opera diva and a hardcore rapper. She made a new sound that fused together rhythmic elements of funk and disco, along with heavy doses of synthesizers, percussion, sound effects, with a rap music sensibility. When critics called her producer dependent, defenders noted that she reshaped the sound and image of rhythm and blues over the last decade. But Janet Jackson didn't just revolutionize sound, she revolutionized movement too. Rolling Stone argued that she, quote, "arguably had a greater long-term impact on the choreography of contemporary music videos. Her moves have been emulated by the greats, Beyonce, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga, Jennifer Lopez. When every major artist of the last 3 decades copies you, you're not just talented, you're the blueprint." Janet Jackson.
Yeah, I agree. Now you guys know I have a couple of feelings on this with Janet personally, because I do love her. But I did not get my picture because I met her last summer when I saw her in concert the first time here in West Palm Beach, and I didn't get my picture with her, unfortunately. I met her, took a picture with her, but the QR code has not worked since to retrieve the picture. So, but there's an argument that, certainly in the States anyway, that her curating was actually was actually higher than Michael's. Now, of course, a lot has to do with Michael and going through all the controversies he went through in the 90s, especially too. There's something to that. But Janet Jackson was on a roll in the 90s. Janet Jackson was arguably one of the biggest artists, if not the biggest artist in the decade. I put her and Mariah Carey. I mean, to be honest with you, the females like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, they dominated the 90s, dude. They really dominated the 90s. So kudos here. Janet Jackson is absolutely positively under, and that's the thing too. Also, because she's Michael's sister too, also especially, there is the argument that sometimes we underrate her. But and look, was there an advantage to some degree being a Jackson and being Michael's sister? There's an inherent advantage, but ultimately you got to put the work in, because all the Jacksons had a career opportunity, have a career, and all the Jacksons had a time. And Jermaine was actually fairly big in the 70s. Didn't sustain. LaToya had a chance. LaToya had a couple albums. Didn't sustain. Reby had a couple albums there. But they all had an opportunity, but no one. Janet was the only one in the family actually was able to measure up to Michael's success. Now, of course, Michael's success is, you're talking about Michael's is the greatest of all time. You're talking about him being in a status of where only the Beatles and Elvis Presley live at. Michael's in that status too. So for Janet to even close that gap, it's pretty impressive. You know what I mean? Especially with all the pressure that came with that. So, all right, here's a couple of Jim Carrey classic videos here I saw on the internet this week. First one here with him on the Arsenio Hall show from the early 90s, doing some death metal.
You were rocking out to the music. You like music, man?
I love music. I love every kind of music, but recently I've really started to get into this thrash metal music. I don't know, there's something about it, man, that I just can't let go. It's great, it's great. There's this one band out that's called Napalm Death, and
I remember them, Napalm Death. If I'm not mistaken, they're from Florida, South Florida, too.
and it's so hilarious. I mean, I listened to this album, I started listening to this album, and it was literally, I'm not exaggerating, that was it. You know, and I thought, you know, someday this guy's going to want to slow down and do some duets. You don't bring me flowers. I'm a little bit country.
That was great. He's so freaking talented, man. I love Jim Carrey. By the way, Ace Ventura, one of my all-time favorite movies. It's one of the few movies I can actually quote from start to finish. Here's another Jim Carrey moment from, I don't know what show this was from, but he was imitating the DeBarge, El DeBarge. And he did a really good job here.
Long, long, girl, we've been together such a long, long time. And when you're near me, my heart does shine. So I got to ask before we start. It's a question straight from my heart. Can I see one today? Oh, girl, just give me one today.
Yeah, Living Color. That's what it was. It was Living Color. He's so talented, man. He's so talented. Jim Carrey, one of my all-time favorites. It's funny, like even now, maybe he's just me speaking out of pocket here, but he as time goes on, he becomes more underrated now. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for that, but he feels underrated now. But his '90s run was fantastic. You know, Ace Ventura, Liar Liar. You know, all the. You know, I'm not a big Cable Guy fan personally, but Liar Liar was great. What's the other movie he did with Renee Zellweger? Forgot that one, but yeah, great run in the '90s. All right, here's a funny moment here. Kurt Angle, and promo here.
If Puff Daddy over there wants a piece of me, I'll make him tab too. Oh, that's right, brother. I'm down with.
That is not Puff Daddy, buddy. That is Busta Rhymes, my all-time favorite hip hop artist. That was great. Kurt Angle. So I checked out like in 2002 for good in WWE, and I was kind of spotty in 2000, 2001. Anyway, there's some really good Kurt Angle stuff, man. Kurt Angle's one of the best workers ever, and some of his promo work and some of the things he did, like his vignettes are just amazing. So very funny moment there for Kurt Angle and Busta Rhymes, not Puff Daddy. Especially in the hindsight, Puff Daddy. Come on now, did he? All right, here's a moment here. It is Rob Parker, clapping back at Richard Sherman for all the Russell Wilson criticism. This was about 2 weeks ago, after Russell Wilson got benched by the Giants, and the talk about whether or not Russell Wilson should retire and whether or not Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer, all this good stuff. And Richard Sherman, he's come back at Richard Sherman because Richard Sherman was a teammate of Russell Wilson's in Seattle back in the day with Legion of Boom. And here's the whole back and forth.
I think you got to judge his career off when the Legion of Boom was there. He had a legendary defense, an all-time defense, and how much success he had. And then without that legendary defense, the success he had. Without that legendary defense, he's been 4-11, 7-8, 0-3 to start with the Giants. He was a winning football player in Seattle, and people said, hey, winning is football player, all this good stuff, all these accolades, and now you get to go on your own and you get to prove, hey, I'm this great quarterback. I'm this guy that's going to be dominant, and it just hasn't worked out that way.
But nobody... It's bullshit if you say that, too, because even the years... Yeah, did he win the Super Bowl after that one in 2013? No. But the years after Sherman and the injury room disbanded, the Seahawks still had a lot of winning years. Russell Wilson, by the year 2020, was looked at as a top 5 quarterback in the league. Don't have revisionist history now, Richard Sherman, because you don't like the guy, because you had issues with the way his personality was, because he was a cornball. Okay, don't make it personal. Analyze the game, analyze the person based on the results, not based on your feelings. Some of these guys in the media, some of these guys, former athletes, they make these things personal. And on one hand, I can understand it. I can respect that in a sense because they'd be authentic to who they are. But if we're assessing it, like, this is why we still need journalists to do that job. Look, I am not against having athletes, on those pregame shows and postgame shows and be honest and having their feelings. But having actual journalists there keeps the balance. Anyway, Rob Parker went off on Richard Sherman, and rightfully so.
Will push back. Nobody will challenge any of the stuff that's being tossed around as fact, and none of it is fact.
Yeah, so Sherman made a point, said, hey, he was only great with the Legion of Boom, and then he pointed out the last 3.5 years where the record has been dismal, right? We'll be quite honest with you. It was bad. Yeah. What he neglected to mention, there's a whole middle ground in Seattle between
I thought that immediately.
Between after the Legion of Boom had disintegrated and before he left to go to Denver.
Yes.
During that time, Russell Wilson with the Seahawks, 10-6, 11-5, 12-4, and then ended badly 6-8.
Calvin, but right there, those 3 seasons there. Yep. But Richard Sherman is telling you as fact that he was garbage once the Legion of Boom was done. It's not true.
Richard Sherman.
Just say it, Richard. I can't stand Russell Wilson, and I'm going to sit here and give you a bold-faced lie on national streaming television, and there are no facts to it, and I'll just say it as gospel, and people at home are watching, and they'll think these are all true. Why? Why couldn't somebody stand up and say, Richard, your numbers are fugazi. They're fraudulent. They're terrible. They don't add up. What about that 12-4 season? What about that 11-win season without the Legion of Boom? That's why we need journalists on the set with these gone crazy former athletes who are jaded and jealous and give you misinformation, and all they care about is their personal vendettas against other athletes.
It's bad when me, of all people, is agreeing with Rob Parker. Rob Parker can't stand me. Okay, he even blocked me on Twitter years ago. I don't know why, but Rob Parker used to be, for me anyway, hot take artist, but he was like the worst kind. I remember one time he went in on RG3. I had to defend him on there because he was calling RG3 a cornball because he was a black kid, but buttoned up, and he was wearing braids in his head, but he's also conservative, and he was giving him the business on that. And I told Rob Parker he was an asshole for doing that. I think that's why he probably blocked me for that reason. But Rob Parker's correct here. Don't make it personal, bro. Do your job. Don't make it personal. Now I've said already on record on the show that Russell Wilson has played himself out of the Hall of Fame conversation because he's had a really big dip since 2020, which makes you forget those really great years. He had 9 really, really good years in Seattle. I mean, he might be able to get into the conversation again, maybe down the road. He's definitely not a first ballot guy. That's for damn sure. I do think, though, it would have benefited him. I said in the show before, had Russell Wilson and the Seahawks repeated that year, the Malcolm Butler interception, if they had completed the mission that year, I think his case would have been helped there. It's the same reason why Eli's still in the conversation, because I can argue that the 9 years of Russell Wilson in Seattle was probably better than everything that Eli Manning's done in his Giants career. And I'm a Giant fan saying that, okay? But, facts are facts. All right, speaking of football, here is a video of Eagles fans and just basically Eagles fans at the link, I think from week 1, against the Cowboys, and basically saying which team in the NFC East they hate the most.
Which NFC East team do you hate the most?
Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
Today's the day. The Cowboys.
Dallas sucks, baby.
Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. Bum ass Cowboys.
Dallas.
I hate Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
Dallas. Yeah, it's Dallas. Definitely the Cowboys.
No doubt?
Yeah, Dallas.
The Cowgirls.
Is that question? The Cowboys! Cowboys.
Dallas. Cowboys.
No doubt?
No doubt. No doubt. Cowboys suck!
Hate's a strong word. You know, I
hate pedophiles. I'm surprised. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised there was at least not one New York Giants fan, Giants person saying the Giants, because the Giants and Eagles, for the record, I'm an AFC fan, Giant fan. I hate the Eagles more than the Cowboys and the Commanders. But a lot of that is also personal, and also the fact that the Giants and Eagles, it's a blood rivalry in a sense, because like they're actually like neighbors. Like what, an hour apart, 2 hours apart between stadiums. So I'm a little surprised you didn't get at least one or two New York Giants haters out there. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. But again, the Cowboys are that annoying ass team though. The America's team thing. There's an extra layer of Dallas. For me personally, like I'm not a Cowboys fan, obviously, but they're just annoying. They're just a tick in my ear. That's what it is. It's like a tick, and I think it's easier to pity them now because they haven't been to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl in 30 years. Okay, had this been 30 years ago, on top of all the bullshit with the Cowboys, they're actually winning Super Bowls too. On top of that, that's different. But they haven't done that in 30 years, and they haven't been sniffed it at this point. Okay, if you had told me back in 1995 that Dallas Cowboys, after Super Bowl 30 against the Steelers, that these guys will not only return to Super Bowl, never, but also not even get to the conference championship game, I would have said, get the hell out of here. There's no way it's going to happen. We are here. Okay. I was 15 years old when last won the Super Bowl. I am 45 fucking years old with a wife and 2 kids. Okay. And a kid that's almost going to be an adult in a couple of years. Just saying. Okay. Just saying. Anyway, got some more videos here. Here's comedian Dan Soder, who is probably the best Macho Man Randy Savage impersonator I've ever seen.
Everybody does a macho, but how is yours so perfect?
I think it's how deep my voice is. I think
just naturally.
I think naturally I have a deep voice, but also it's the key is
break it down for us.
Back to my buddy Vic, we used to cut promos on each other about like roommate stuff. Where it'd be like, yeah, electric bill hasn't been paid. Yeah, gonna be a little bit of a problem. Gonna be a little bit of a problem when they shut the lights. That's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. Yeah, and it's all fingers for me. If I get the little finger wag, if I'm standing up, you'll see me grab my belt. But that's always he was. Old school Macho Man promos, he just whispers in a whisper yell. And that's what I always thought was funny when I was little, where he'll just be like a dad getting mad, but he doesn't want to yell in front of his friends, where he's like, I told you to pick up your toys. Yeah. I told you to pick up your toys, and now they're all over the floor. Yeah. Just like, that always is what he reminds me.
He's so good, bro. Dan's, I don't know who does a better Macho Man impersonation. I mean, the only one I can think of is Jay Lethal. He's the obviously wrestler Jay Lethal. Is he still in AEW? He probably still in AEW. He was in TNA. I know he does a great Ric Flair, but a great Randy Savage. He had the Mr. Machismo. I think was the character he did back in the aughts, the 2000s. I think it was. I mean, that's when I was out of wrestling at that point. But I think him and Dan Soder do the best Macho Man impersonation I've ever seen. So yeah, that was great. That was fantastic. All right, here's some old George W. Bush gaffes here. I miss this guy, actually.
Too many good docs are getting out of business. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country.
The Prime Minister of India? The new Prime Minister of India is, no.
How do you not know the name of the... Bro, you're the President of the United States. How do you not know the name? Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I oppose breaching those dams. I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully. If you're a single mother...
That had been edited. No way in hell that he really said that.
Mother with 2 children, which is the toughest job in America as far as I'm concerned. And you're working hard to put food on your family.
Jump in the door. It's locked. It's locked. Both of them are locked.
Teach a child to read, and he or her will be able to pass a literacy test. Families is where our nation finds hope. where wings take dream.
Oh, that's the infamous
I know the spec,
the infamous truth roar. I think was it in Iraq or in Iran? I can't remember where exactly that. It was overseas, definitely Middle East.
But I'm the decider, and I decide what is best, and what's best is for Don Rumsfeld to remain as the Secretary of Defense. I hear there's rumors on the internets.
And one of the things that I've used on the Google is to pull up maps.
I have filters on internets. There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on..."
Classic.
Shame on you.
Never thought that George W. would actually be there are folks that, people especially on the left hand side that say, given what, their distaste of Donald Trump, they sit there and say, well, we missed that guy. I remember people in my family, it's funny because there's a little inside baseball here. So you guys know I'm a former Republican. So I voted for Bush in 2004. I got so much shit for it from some of my siblings, some of my cousins, how could you vote for George Bush and this and that? And they're all left-leaning Democrats. I was still right-leaning Republican, somewhat moderate, but, and I would get so much shit even for years on and even after that. Then Trump happens. And now when I tell them, I will take apologies now. So, because I think one of them mentioned that, I would take George W. back over Donald Trump. And I go, interesting. You gave me shit for that 20 years ago. Now all of a sudden, here you are. Regretting it now, huh? I'll take those apologies, please. Politics sucks, bro. I know politics, I hate at the same time. Speaking of which, this next rant is a user, I forgot his name here, but he talking about how he hates both parties.
Motherfucker, I hate both political parties. I think anyone that blindly subscribes to a set of beliefs without any consideration for any other lines of thought is an absolute idiot, okay? So
he's correct about that for the record.
Here's the thing. When George Floyd was murdered in broad daylight and the right said, well, he was a drug addict, doesn't give someone the right to fucking murder him. And just like now with Charlie Kirk, the left saying, but he was pro-guns, therefore he had it coming. Are you guys fucking retarded? Are you guys fucking retarded? Murder is murder. You have watched way too many Hunger Games movies. You have watched way too much Squid Game. You actually forget that this is real fucking life.
Yeah. Real quick on that. And forget, this is why I agree with him so too. What I've been saying for the last couple of years, especially after the Charlie Kirk assassination a couple weeks ago, the dehumanization of society as a whole. Politics have a lot to do with that also too. But it's the dehumanization as a whole. The way that death has looked like. Death is just one of those things now. The devaluing of life as a whole, whether it be with, I'm not talking about pro-life, pro-choice stuff. I'm talking about just like life, like people like me sitting here talking to you or someone up the street. We lack simple empathy. I'm not saying you have to be empathetic to everything and everybody, okay? But simple empathy. Because of political positions, it's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. And he's right on that one. In terms of devaluation, we are, as a society, it goes beyond politics for the record. It does. It really does.
This is a real fucking life. And all the lives that are being murdered in other countries are also lives. Guess what? I hate the right. I hate the left. Everyone's fucking retarded. I'm going to say the word. Say the word retarded, he said. Yeah. Honestly, other than the Yankee hat in the video, he's dead on. He's exactly where I'm at. And for the record, I don't think lives should be political anyway. Although everything's political. I hate when people say, "Oh, I don't want to get political." Unfortunately, now everything is political. Unfortunately, politics is embedded in everything we do. You know what I'm saying? But this is also why I hate the two-party system. This user here makes a good point of why I can't stand the two-party system, because again, we're relegated to just two choices. And the Democrats don't, I've voted Democrat in most elections in the last 15, 16 years, but there's a lot of issues I have with that party as an apparatus. They don't hit all the things I check mark on. The main things they check mark on mostly, they lean that way anyway,
But I'm not blindly thinking, okay, well, Democrats get all right, Republicans get all right. There's a lot of conservative things about me. I have a lot of conservative leanings on issues. A lot. There's a lot of people who still think I told you the good friend of mine said that if she didn't know who I was, she would thought I was a Republican still. I was a Trump supporter because I do have a mishmash of things, that crosses on both aisles. Now the things that I mostly prioritize tend to be more left leaning, like healthcare. Democrats are closer to where I am on that, but you don't believe that the Republicans had a better position on healthcare. I'd be voting on their end too, also. So he's correct on that. I mean, this dehumanization of we're a society, it's really, really bad, and it's just it's sad. It's really sad. It really is. All right, Joe Rogan talking about exercise and the importance of exercising.
He didn't have enough energy to exercise. Did he walk around?
Well, yeah, but you can
walk to
drag yourself through things.
And you can drag yourself through an exercise routine. You can. But you most certainly can. You most certainly can. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to do something. You walk up hills. You jump a little rope. You take a little tiny kettlebell. You do a couple cleans and presses. You do a few push-ups. You do a few sit-ups. You get your blood pumping. You're moving. You're alive. You're exercising. To say you don't have enough extra energy to exercise, that's crazy. Can you walk to the refrigerator? Then you can exercise. I'm not saying that.
And here's the thing too. Also, what Rogan's saying there, I'm not going to sit there and say that I'm the perfect specimen of someone who's consistent with taking care of his health. My nutrition is still pretty fucking bad.
You have to run.
I do exercise, but not as consistent as I should. But he's correct there. People get discouraged because to them, and I know this for a fact. I was here once upon a time. It becomes complicated. Exercise isn't complicated. And he's saying it directly here too also. Just move. Walk. Just walk. Walk a couple laps. You have a goal, set the goal, but walk. Walk a mile a day. Walk 2 miles a day. I'm doing 3 miles now as of late. Just move. It's very simple. Less calories in, more exercise out, more burnt calories. Walk around. Just move. You have to go to the gym. You don't have to do Orange Theory and all this stuff they say to do. No, you don't have to do all that. Just move. Okay? You'd be surprised. Walking to me is my favorite exercise to do because it really takes care of me on so many fronts. Number one, in terms of obviously exercise and helping my cardio, lowering my blood sugar. Number two, cortisol. It calms me. Every time I'm stressed out and I go for a walk, I am immediately centered after that. My brain calms down. I'm able to focus again. As someone who has anxiety, who's ADHD, every time I go for a walk, it always centers me. It is my life. It is my lifesaver. Just move. It's not that hard. It's not that hard whatsoever. So don't overcomplicate the situation. All right, one more. Another Dan Soder, Randy Savage video.
The best thing about your macho is you can talk about just ridiculous things. Do you have an actual Macho Man promo that you know to a T?
There's two that I know, but I probably haven't done them in a while, so I'll butcher them. But they're both Steamboat promos, and it's the cup of coffee in the big time. That's
my God.
Steamboat's cup of coffee in the big time. But then the other opening line is where he's like, I am the undisputed Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, and I will remain the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. The one that I do know is the Gene Okerlund where he goes, a superstar in the WWF that has done seamlessly a 180. And you just hear, yeah, 180. And he goes, and then another 180. And he goes, another 180. And he comes in and he goes, the beat.
Yeah, he goes, 180. 360, another 180. That was the promo that I think one of the promos were, that was the start of Savage's face turns. We started turning babyface in late '87. By the way, which I did cover actually an episode on that on this feed a couple weeks back on the wrestling retrospective series. Talking about Savage's 1987 and the turning point of that. Yeah, I mean, look, Soder's impression is amazing. I can go on about that. All right, here's Chris Brown talking about whether or not he is the next Michael Jackson.
Do you feel like the new Michael Jackson?
Damn. Personally, my real honest opinion, no. You know, I feel like nobody can replace that man. That man kind of like, he's still the end-all be-all when it comes to entertainment, even subject matter of songs.
You smoking Smoke Champs? I like your style.
Yeah, you know,
I like your style. I like you promoting our product immediately. I like that. I like that.
You know, so I feel like I could never be in his shoes. I can only like be inspired by him, you know, and try to, I don't want to imitate him because his magic is his magic. So me being able to even have that conversation, I'm flattered, but I'm also like honest with myself.
Oh, damn, I wish I could play the whole thing here. It cuts off here. Damn, hold on. Take it right here.
Damn.
Hold on. Can I get it here? Let me see. It won't play. Damn it, it won't play. All right. He goes, hell, damn. He basically says, hell nah, I am Michael Jackson, the next Michael Jackson. Here's the thing. You know, this is a very polarizing topic for people in entertainment and social media. When we talk about Chris Brown versus MJ or MJ against anybody, Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Usher, you name it, anybody. The arguments are twofold. There's the talent argument, because music is just subjective, okay? I prefer to listen to Megadeth over Beyonce. I'm not going to say Megadeth is more talented than Beyonce. They're one and two different artists, two different acts, but I just prefer Megadeth's music over Beyonce's music. That's just my personal preference. So there's personal preference on here, you know? And certainly Michael is massively influenced Chris Brown. You know, in fact, Chris Brown, I was, you know, he has pretty much a shrine to Michael in the house. Apparently, he has like a whole like room dedicated to Michael Jackson. Talent-wise, Chris Brown is up there. Like, I would say, pure talent, it's neck and neck. And you know, Chris Brown being an athlete, I think is where he may have a little edge because he's an athlete. You know, he could do flips and he could do all this kind of stuff, and you know, he can rap. I mean, dude, you ever Chris Brown rap before? Chris Brown is a phenomenal rapper. I'm not even joking. I saw him on on a show a couple years back, and he was flowing. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? I'm not saying Michael can't do that, but Chris Brown, wow. The real conversation, this is where we talk about music artists and Taylor Swifts and all this stuff, is impact. Is Chris Brown's impact as large as Michael Jackson's? That's the conversation people should be having. And the answer is no. And Chris Brown will tell you that. Michael Jackson means something to so many people. His entire, you know, Michael's entire fan base is, Michael Jackson may have the most diverse type fan base in history of music, because it's from age birth to 80 years old. Races. He sips through races, through political differences. He's one of the only artists that probably has a 50-50 political audience. You know what I'm saying? You know, some artists has like a more left-leaning audience and one other right. Michael has a split. Michael's a split. Because in my own life alone, I've seen Michael have people who MAGA, hates liberals, Trump supporting patriots, salute the flag, those folks. And then leftist, progressive, you name it, Democrats or whatever it may be, you know, Bernie Sanders lovers. And they hate each other politically. But when it comes to Michael fucking Jackson, they're on the same side. I also seen people, I went to the concert in 2001. The only time I've ever seen a Palestinian flag and an Israeli flag in the same spot, together united. Because of Michael Jackson. His music cuts through all that shit, bro. That's why he's as big as he is. When people ask me, how is he so big? This is the shit I'm talking about. It's the cultural shit. It's the religious stuff. It's everything beyond that. No other artist can do that, honestly. I mean, could, but no one else has done that, really. And at that level, a lot of folks I know of, you know, who are from Russia and third world countries know who he is. And they say their first black experience of anything, of entertainment or what it may be, was Michael Jackson. That's why when people say, you know, compare Michael Jackson, it's not a fair barometer for them now, because those are the requirements to be like Michael. Not my rules. It is what it is. So that's what we're working with. If we're talking about actual talent, I understand the argument. When it comes to actual impact, that's a whole different fucking conversation, bro. Hate to break it to you. It is. Anyway, next video here. Chris Rock on politics today.
The whole country's got a fucked up mentality, man. We all got a gang mentality.
Yep.
Republicans are fucking idiots, and Democrats are fucking idiots, and conservatives are idiots, and liberals are idiots, and anyone that makes up their mind before they hit an issue is a fucking fool, okay?
Amen.
Everybody. No. Everybody's so busy wanting to be down with a gang. I'm a conservative, I'm liberal, I'm conservative. It's bullshit.
Nailed it. Look, for record, I am not a Chris Rock fan whatsoever. I am one of the biggest Chris Rock haters on the planet. But every now and then he'll say something that's like, that's kind of funny. Because the reason why I'm not a Chris Rock fan, number one, is because he's one of those comedians that likes to punch down. I can't stand that. His thing is about making fun of people all the time. I can't stand that. But he'll have moments. But he nailed it here on the whole thing with the gang mentality, because everyone wants to fit in. Okay? I know it's on both sides. And it's pathetic, in my opinion.
A fucking person. Listen. Let it swirl around your head. Then form your opinion.
This is why, and right there, is exactly why this platform is what it is. It's exactly why I have liberals on the show, conversation with liberals. I have conservatives on the show, have conversations with conservatives, because I want to know their perspective. Doesn't mean I agree or disagree with them. I just want to know the perspective, why they think this way, what is the lay of the land, why exactly is the thinking this way? What am I missing? What are they missing? And this is why I do this. Dialogue needs to be a thing. This is why you may hate Joe Rogan and this and that, but Joe Rogan, and there's a lot of things that Joe Rogan frustrates me, but he is still probably the best when it comes to actual dialogue. Because for the record, he invites Democrats on his podcast. And people on the left, they refuse to come on the show. That's on them. I'm sorry. Dialogue is important. Important. Or else this country goes to shit.
No normal, decent person is one thing, okay? I got some shit I'm conservative about. I got some shit I'm liberal about.
I definitely am. In my case, I'm conservative about government. I'm conservative about I'm pro guns. I don't own a gun. I'm pro 2A. I'm pro free speech. I all those things. I costs and the economy. I'm definitely very concerned about that stuff. Taxes being lowered. I want transparency on my taxes, especially too if I'm paying taxes. I want to know where my money's going to. But I'm also very liberal when it comes to social issues, when it comes to healthcare, things of that nature. So I have a mishmash of things.
Crime, I'm conservative. Prostitution,
I'm liberal. Yeah, this thing is cutting off at the last couple seconds of these videos. I don't know why he's doing that for. It's annoying as hell. But yeah, every so often Chris Rock gets it right. I'm not a Chris Rock fan, but every so often he gets it right. He does. And he'll have a funny moment that I can appreciate. But all right, couple more videos to get out of here. Donald Trump is a know-it-all.
Knows this stuff better than me.
Nobody knows more about taxes than I do, and income than I do.
Nobody knows more about construction than I do.
Nobody knows more about campaign finance than I do.
I know more about drones than anybody.
Nobody knows much more about technology. This type of technology, certainly.
He goes, technology than I do.
Nobody knows more about technology than me.
Nobody's in the history of this country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump. I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me.
I know more about ISIS than the generals do, believe me. I understand things. I comprehend very well, okay? Better than, I think, almost anybody.
And by the way,
who would have thought he would come down to that conclusion? That better than anybody.
Who knew the other side of the picture better than me? I knew it.
Nobody knows more about environmental impact statements than me. I understand the power of Facebook. maybe better than almost anybody. I know more about renewables than any human being on Earth. Nobody knows more about polls than me. I know more about courts than any human being on Earth. I know more about steelworkers than anybody that's ever run for office. I know more about golf than Obama knows. Nobody knows more about banks than I do. Nobody knows more about trade than me. Well, obviously, he doesn't know about nuclear weapons. I know more about nuclear weapons than he'll ever know. I understand the tax laws better than almost anyone. Who knows more about lawsuits than I do? I'm the king.
That I agree with. That I definitely agree with.
I know more about offense and defense than they will ever understand. Nobody even understands it but me. It's called devaluation. I understand money better than anybody. I understand the system better than anybody. Nobody knows more about debt than I do. Nobody knows the game better than me. I know more about contributions than anybody. And who knows more about the word apprentice than Donald Trump? I understand politicians better than anybody. Nobody knows politicians better than me. Who knows the other side better than me? Who knows the other side better than me? I think I know more about the other side than almost anybody. And I understand the other side. Perhaps I understand it better than anybody else. I was the fair-haired boy. Nobody knows more about it than me. I know more than these politicians.
A lot of most of these clips, I think from 2016 campaign. I'll tell you what, like, I know everybody has their feelings about Donald Trump and whatever. I get it. But 2016 Donald Trump was hysterical. Like, that was insult comedy on crack. Okay, he was, and again, when I say that I get the appeal, I get the appeal. 2024, it is what he's old grandpa now. 2016 he was ripping everybody left and right. So I got the appeal. People are frustrated with the government. People are frustrated with society as a whole. You have this guy who, while not relatable, comes off as such. I get it. I fucking get it, bro. I really do get it. All right, one last one to get out of here. It is Angry Grandma on the roller coaster.
Oh, where in the hell are we going now, motherfucker? We're going up. Yeah. Oh, it ain't high, Granny. We don't go up. We'll do this. We'll do this. Fucking liar.
I love her.
You won't get me on nothing else. I carry a fucking TV's ass. I don't give a damn when you take me home. Let's go home. I don't give a shit. But
your face, so stoic.
Shut the fuck up! I don't want to hear your fucking eye. Oh, motherfucker! I'm telling you what.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it. And by the way, guys, this show, especially too, I suggest watching the show, not just listening on audio, but on the video side on YouTube, Earnestly Pod on YouTube, Earnestly Podcast YouTube page, because the videos, like sometimes the videos you need to see it, and seeing her face on the roller coaster when the ride's going down the tracks, she was very stoic, and she's saying, "Shut up, shut the fuck up, motherfucker!" by screaming, whatever. Oh my god, it's incredible. It's funny as hell. I follow that account all the time, and he put some really good videos out there. My friend one actually, I made my shirt next week. Is her saluting Roman Reigns. That was the best one she ever did. So yeah. But anyway, this is another edition, the second edition of EJ Loves the Internet. I'm on X at EJ7. Earnestly Podcast across all podcast catchers, especially on YouTube at Earnestly Pod on the video side, and clips of the show, of course, on TikTok at Earnestly Pod. Until the next episode, we will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love you guys. Take care and see ya.